Hi everyone, welcome to Human Nutrition 2. This is week 6 and we start looking at infants and children and then into adolescents. So we're looking at basically infants first and then we're going to progress through that. But before we get into that, I've got a couple of things that I want to say about the assessment. So a little bit about the format, and there's some handy tips in the Padlet. So I do encourage you to go have a look at the Padlet, and the Padlet is going to help you. I've got in there some links in terms with the library. It's going to help you with the database searching. I've also got in there a little template for the search planner that will help you with your assignment. So always have a bit of a look at the Padlet because there is information to update that. So we'll come back to that and we'll have a look at the Padlet in just a sec. Also, in the actual formatting of the report, in the actual assessment brief, I've got a little bit of a format there, and I've just put this one together. So you can't have that word for word because I've written some of this stuff here and I haven't put the references in there because you would actually need to have references. So very important that you include in-text references. Even if you take that information from a source and then paraphrase it into your own words, you need to actually cite, that's what cite means, cite where the reference comes from. So you need to paraphrase it into your own words, and then making sure it makes sense, and then cite where the reference actually comes from. So this is an idea. Now, I had a question in my class this week. Students saying, well, do I have to use numbered formats? It is good because it actually helps to chunk information together. We really like you to use headings. You don't have to use numbers, but numbers do make it easier to chunk that information together. So here's a bit of an idea of what something could look like in terms of, your introduction 1.0, 2.0 is the role of one of the micronutrients, and then you've got your dietary sources. Then we have the table. Make sure your tables always have a heading. You need to refer to your table within the body of the report. So as you can see here in that 2.1 at the bottom of that paragraph, I've actually put table 1 shows the amount of iodine present in some commonly consumed foods. Underneath it, you will see I've got table 1, then I've got a title of the table, and then I've got the information, and then at the bottom, I'm going to reference that table saying note, dot, adapted from, and then I'm going to have the reference of where I've actually taken that from. Now, in the library, there is actually a referencing tool. You have the referencing, I'll put that into the assessment area. You've actually got the APA 7th edition referencing guide. There's also a referencing tool. Now, the referencing tool is great because it actually is like a bit of a shortcut. So you could just look up, say, how do I reference a table? And you look up all the tables and it will show you exactly how to do a table. Also, will show you how to, if you adapt the information and put it into a table, how you actually reference that with the adaptation. So use the referencing tool. It's a nice little thing that's easy rather than you might find it hard to go through all those pages in the referencing guide. Have a look at the referencing tool. There's also a program called Mendeley. Now, Mendeley is a referencing generator, and that's, look, it takes a little bit of work to get the hang of it. I don't find it too difficult. I used it a lot when I was doing lots of writing. I find it's quite easy to use. It saves you, making sure you put all your references in the right place. It can pop them in straight away, then it puts out the reference list at the end of your paper. So it's called Mendeley. It's a free one through the library. You'll also find that as well. Now, this is also up in the Padlet. This is a search planner, and you will need to use something like this for the research article that you're going to use database. Now, the databases, if you're not sure how to use them, there is a whole clip on how to use that. And I'll put that actually up into the Padlet, or it goes, it's actually under the, where have I put it? I have put it under the study guide assessments. If you click into that, you'll be actually, if you go into that, you will find it. It is actually under the assessment 2, but the part B, you'll find it. It's called the 10 top tips for database. And I'll show you how to get there in just a sec. And that's great because it tells you how to actually do searches and using truncations and Boolean terms. And you're probably thinking, what's that mean? It explains it in more detail. It's very simple once you understand. Now, I've just put this one together. This is something that I would have used, and it shows you the different words, etc., and how we use them together. So you sometimes might need to use things a different name, but if you watch that clip about how to search databases, it makes a bit more sense. So my one here is I was looking for omega-3s and pregnancy. So there's lots of different ways to list an omega-3. So you could call it an M3, omega-3s, EPA, DHA, and then the other term I'm searching for is pregnancy. So it gives you a bit of an idea of how to do it. You don't need to use this table, but you could just set it up into a table of what your search terms are, because in your assessment, it does ask you to find a recent research paper published in the last couple of years, so 2022, 2023. We limited the range because there's going to be thousands of papers, okay? So we wanted to make it a little bit easier for you. You had to find just one research paper, and you're going to obviously reference that, and you're not sort of referring to it within the rest of your report, but this is just one research paper that supports the use of a particular micronutrient. So you chose 2 micronutrients, it's just one that you're going to say. Let's say you chose vitamin D. It supports the use of vitamin D, and you need to use the library database Medline Complete. And we just want to show, it wants to show us that you understand how to use a library database. Writing the summary in your own words, the key findings are 250 words. You also need to submit something in terms of the search terms. And this is where this comes in. You're going to submit the search terms using what you put into Medline. And you attach this in your appendices. Also in your appendices, they come after the reference list. You're going to attach a PDF of the research article. Please do not put a link, because links sometimes don't work. They get moved. So download PDF, attach it in the appendices, and then we can actually have a look at it to see if it's suitable. Make sure it's peer reviewed. So a Google article, a web page, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a peer reviewed journal article, if possible. That's what we're looking for, but definitely a journal article. So not something that's written by a blog, okay, or it's just someone's website, all right? So we're really looking for credible academic evidence to support the use of one of your micronutrients, okay? I will show you how to do that. All right, there's some other advanced search terms you might use. So these that we talk about, Boolean operators or truncation, and some of you may have already done some research subjects and will have an understanding. So pause it here, have a bit of a look through, because you can use exclamation marks or an asterisk to actually to shorten the word. That's called truncation, etc. All right, so this is a link. This is actually in the Padlet as well. It's a link to the library, the assessment area for this particular subject. This is a study guide, but particularly we're interested in that part that's got assessment 2 part B. What's in there is actually 10 tips for database usage. So I'm going to show you in just a minute. See, as you can see here, it's what the screen looks like. It goes through how to search, and it's got those 10 tips. So I highly encourage you to go there and have a bit of a look at that, because it's going to be helpful. All right, so I'm going to stop my share now and just see if I can share. All right, so I'm going to play this video and hopefully this will work okay. Okay. Well, hopefully that was some information there that would help you with your database. When we come back, we'll start looking at infant nutrition.